person will meet anywhere from 10 to 36 murderers in their lifetime. Of those, 3 to 5 of them may be serial killers. The term serial killer is supposedly understood, but what really makes a serial killer? I will discuss how a serial killer is born, the characteristics of a serial killer, and what motivates a serial killer. To start off, I will start to explain how a serial killer is born. Most all serial killers develop from their early childhood. First, they experience several kinds of trauma. So this may be psychological, physical, or emotional abuse, family dysfunction, and others. And then they never really learn how to respond to this trauma, and so instead they suppress their emotions, and you have a child who never really developed their emotions properly, and so they don't really know how to empathize with other people. And then usually the first victim for a serial killer is a family member because of the abuse or the trauma that they caused them. In addition, serial killers are often found torturing animals. According to Allison Futterman, 21% of serial killers admitted to childhood animal abuse. The reason for this is because they like to have some sense of control. Little kids obviously can't control much, and so they choose small animals. This could be squirrels, birds, small cats maybe, or dogs, and they usually kill these animals without showing any kind of remorse. This is one of the strongest signs of a serial killer. Next, I will talk about the characteristics of a serial killer. Many serial killers share certain behavior traits or tendencies that are not considered normal. Serial killers have a strong tendency towards antisocial behavior. Usually a child goes from being super social to super antisocial, and then it creates a personality of understanding but disregarding right from wrong, lying and deceiving others, inability to learn from consequences of their actions, risky behavior with no care for who it may harm, and so they'll do a lot of different behaviors that could either harm themselves or it can harm some of their friends or family members, but they do not show any signs of remorse. In addition, they are usually very aggressive and violent, and they like to have a sense of superiority. Many serial killers are actually very intelligent. According to Crime and Investigation, many serial killers have above average IQ, and so normal people have between 85 to 115, and then anything above 130 is considered very advanced. So here's a few people. There is Dr. Harold Shipman, Jeffrey Dahmer, Edward Kempler, Andrew Cunin, Charlene Gallio, and Ted Kaczynski. All of these people have an IQ ranging from 140 to 167. In addition, you have Nathan Leopold, who has an IQ of 210. And so many serial killers, the reason why they're able to commit more than one murder and keep doing it is because they have such a high IQ, and so they're smart enough to figure out how to do these crimes and hide their tracks. Finally, I will discuss what motivates a serial killer. There are various different motivations for serial killers. First, there could be enjoyment, which they usually enjoy torturing their victims, and they like to watch the slow death of them. And so, for example, like I said, with animals, usually they will come up with very creative but slow dying things. Like, for example, I had a teacher who told me a story about a kid that he knew that would get or he didn't know him, but he knew of him. He would get cats and he would like bury them and leave only their heads sticking out, and he would run them over with a lawnmower, or he would just like tie them up and just like let them sit there, and he would watch the animal die. And so they actually, well, one thing that really motivates them is watching that slow death. And then another reason could be they like the power or the thrill of it, and so usually the offender feels very empowered and they have a sense of control when they kill a victim, and so they will do this again and again because of that feeling that it gives them. They enjoy that feeling. A second reason could be financial gain. Back in the 1800s, they had what was called a baby farmer. Basically, unwed mothers were not able to take care of their kids, and so they would find these baby farmers, and the baby farmers would basically buy the babies from the mothers and they would promise to take care of them, and so the mother would feel like she was putting the baby into a good place. But in reality, many of these baby farmers would kill the baby behind the mother's back whenever the mother left, and the mother would have no idea, and this went on and on for about 100 years. Today, we obviously do not have baby farmers. Instead, how some serial killers can make money is from a robbery homicide, and so obviously they will break into a rich person's home, kill the owner of the home, and then rob them, and they make a lot of money through that. Or they do multiple killings, which involves insurance or welfare fraud. Lastly, one of the main drivers or main motivation is because of anger. According to Robert Kepler and others who did research on this topic, almost every serial killer is driven by something that goes wrong in their life. And so basically it could be something small, it could be something big, but they become so angry from this event that they're not able to control it, and so they lash it out on their victims. They display rage either towards a specific person, such as the family member, or it could be towards a certain subgroup of a population. So that could be the homeless, a specific race or specific gender, or it could be towards society as a whole. So they could just be mad at basically everybody for whatever reason it was from that certain event. In conclusion, serial killers develop in very similar ways and do what they do for many of the same reasons. There are many signs that can be observed in the early stages of life of developing serial killers. Many will have very similar personalities and are driven by the same factors. Therefore, make sure to look out for those similarities that can be spotted in early childhood. You might just save a life.